Hi, I'm Shelley Young, owner of the Chopping Block, and today I'm going to teach you how to make polenta. Polenta is essentially a fancy way of saying cornmeal mush. I like polenta better. That sounds much more appetizing. Really, the difference between grits, polenta, cooked cornmeal is really the size of the cornmeal and how finely it's ground. Polenta is generally made with a medium to fine ground coarseness, whereas something like grits is made with a much coarser grain. What we're going to do today is we're going to slow cook this polenta with some stock. Today we're going to use a Parmesan stock. I just happen to have some Parmesan rinds, so I'm going to show you how to do that, but we can use water or stock. We're going to cook it for a long time over a slow heat, keep stirring it and developing the flavors. I had a couple of Parmesan cheese rinds, which allowed me to make some Parmesan stock. Simply taking water and the rinds, putting them together and simmering them on the stove for about 20-30 minutes. You get a nice flavorful stock that I can use for my polenta. Now, I don't have to have this. I can use water, I can use chicken stock, I can use a combination of milk and stock also. I like the 4-to-1 ratio, so 4 cups of liquid, in this case the Parmesan stock, and 1 cup of cornmeal. I use a method that you don't often see, which is a double boiler. You can use any round bottom bowl for this with rapidly boiling water underneath. I find this a lot easier when you're using a long cooking cornmeal like we are today. The quick cooking cornmeal will be done in just a matter of 10-20 minutes, but this is still a great method for that. I like a longer cooking cornmeal because I can develop more flavor. So over this double boiler, we'll just keep stirring it, but I don't have to tend it as much as if I would have it over a direct flame. So it allows me to do other things, which I'm going to do, which is chopping my herbs, grating my Parmesan cheese that I'll add to this later. Slow cooking and stirring this for about 40 minutes. So I just have some fresh oregano here. A little bit more than I actually need, but I'm going to add this to the polenta at the end of the cooking time. And a little fresh Italian parsley. I'm also going to just take the stems off of this and mince this up to be added at the end of the cooking. I like to scrape the sides down as I go and get that back into the polenta. So the polenta's been cooking for about 40 minutes, stirring it regularly, and you can see what's happened here. There's a film of kind of cooked corn that's on the bottom of the bowl. That's just fine. I don't worry about that. Actually adds a lot of flavor to the polenta to cook it this long and develop that cooked corn on the bottom. This is some heavy cream. I've got a ½ cup of heavy cream. Now, depending on the texture that you're looking for, this is where I like to adjust the thickness of the polenta, is at the end. So I use the 4-to-1 ratio in the beginning, but I actually tend to like a little creamier polenta. The texture that we started with here would have been great if I wanted to take and put it out on a sheet pan and chill it and grill it later, but for a creamy polenta to serve as a side, I like to add a little cream. I added about a ½ cup of warm cream, heavy cream to this. You could also use milk or more chicken stock. I have some butter, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I tasted this a minute ago. I like to season it with salt at the end as well, depending on the stock that you used. It's going to vary a lot in your salt content. This really needs some salt, so I'm using a very fine sea salt here. Start with about ½ to 3/4 of a teaspoon. I've got some oregano. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of minced oregano and about a teaspoon of minced parsley. Get that in there and let that cook just a smidge with the warmth of the polenta. And the last thing I'm going to do is fold in a Half cup of Parmesan cheese. Oh, beautiful. Creamy, a little bit of salt, some nice herbs. This is going to go great with poached eggs, roasted pork, roasted chicken, really anything. It's very neutral and goes with a lot of things. And that is how you make polenta.